Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to the Chamber Ensemble concert, which for me is my favorite concert of the entire year. Mostly because they're just amazing, and then you get to see really the things that I get to see every single day, how amazing and hardworking they are. A couple of things. This is a project I started doing because it's student-led, but also because when orchestra musicians leave school, the things that they tend to do don't look like the way that we play orchestra in school. So this very much models the kinds of gigs that they'll have, the kinds of work that you do outside of school when you leave. You usually play in a quartet at a wedding, or someone hires you to do a duet for an art project or something like that. So this is kind of one of those things that's very useful, actual experience of what it's like to be a musician in a small ensemble. And they did all of this work themselves. I really just walked around and gave some guidance here and there. They all immediately got straight to work. This is actually the shortest amount of time that I've had kids work on this project, and they really astounded me with their amazing abilities. Each group also got to coordinate their outfits and props, because why not? If you can't have fun with your outfits and your props at a 6th grade orchestra concert, when can you, right? So this is sort of a Western vibe. This is Cripple Creek. It is a fiddle tune, and everything is done without a conductor, so they had to learn how to start without a conductor, and they all decided and voted on who does what parts. This group in particular, it's a very large group, which is generally more difficult because you have more voices. And they were all very diplomatic. They basically chose parts by audition, and they're just really awesome, amazing kids, and they sound really good. So this is Cripple Creek. The next group is La Bamba, and while they're getting set, I told them during the transitions, it becomes the Miss Gamble Comedy Hour. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I really enjoy highlighting the positives of each group, because I sort of tell them when we start this project, you know, there's a lot of times in life when you have to work with people and you have to respect other people, and it's not always easy. I always tell my students the best part and the hardest part about being a human is working with other humans. And so it's really nice that like we practice respecting one another. We rotate leadership for each day. So the rehearsal is run by a different person in the group each day, so everyone gets a chance to be the leader of a rehearsal. And this group was full of leaders. They all, like most groups do not want to be like, do I have to be the leader today? But this group every day was like, I want to be the leader. And so this is a group filled with leaders, and it's such an amazing quality. Yeah, I'm gonna play maracas with them. I can sit there, that's fine. Yeah. Or I'll just stand behind somebody, don't worry about it. You guys get set and I'll stand around you. So they also wanted to coordinate their outfits with the Mexican flag because the Mexican folk song, and so they got really excited with it. There was lots of construction paper props during this process, and it was very fun and creative. And yeah, this group is really awesome. They also chose a really challenging key to play in, and they wanted to take on that challenge. And so I just really admire them being like, yeah, give us the hard piece, let's do it. So they're really awesome, they're really amazing. They're also a big group with lots of leaders, and there was lots of good negotiating skills at work here. So this is La Bamba, and okay, we'll get ready. And then we are gonna play. All right, who's my next group? Ash Grove. This group went full like woodland forest theme, and I'm here for it. And they dress all in green, and it's amazing. I would say this group was very creative and had a lot of creative energy. And they were probably the quickest to immediately get to work. They also had a whiteboard in their rehearsal space, and they were like, can we use the whiteboard to like set goals? And I was like, yeah, they use the whiteboard to set goals. So yeah, they were very goal oriented and immediately got to work, and they're just really awesome humans. I really like them. And I just love the creative energy that they brought to this. And cellos and basses take a minute to set up. It's just the way the instrument works.
Closer, everybody, Dorothy? Are you too far away?
Why don't you go back there or is that?
Okay.
Okay, so this is a fiddle tune called Ash Grove. It's kind of a slower fiddle tune. And they were like, what's a grove? And I was like, it's a group of trees. And so they were like, oh, we should put like animals and woodland creatures everywhere. It was great. So this is Ash Grove. Okay, our next group is Swallowtail Jig. This group may be one of the more like serious and calm groups. All of their personalities together make a very like calm rehearsal. And so they had a lot of time to really like analyze all of the things they were working on, and they would go around and have one person play and then give feedback. They were very like measured, methodical rehearsal, very calm and focused, and I wish I could clone them all and have a bunch of them because it would be amazing. They're just also really amazing people, and they wanted to dress fancy, and I love it. I love seeing how all of their personalities sort of come out with each group, and also there's so many excellent leaders that just are really good at running a rehearsal. This group was like very rehearsal focused, and it was like, oh, I have taught them these things. They do know how to do this. And so it's very encouraging as their teacher to see them just shine and take a lot of initiative. So this group had a lot of initiative, and I'm super proud of them, and this is Swallowtail Jig. Also had to learn a completely new time signature that we've never talked about. So they're learning a completely new skill in how to count an entirely different time signature. So it's just very impressive. They're a really impressive group. The next group is St. Anne's Reel. St. Anne's Reel. This group possibly had the most fun because they were like loudly laughing and giggling and loudly bossing each other around. And so I think maybe they had the most fun in this project because I would have to go in there and be like, is everything okay? It's very loud in here for an incredibly tiny storage room filled with only this many musicians. They're just a lot of fun personalities, and I think they really bring their fun, lively personality to this piece. So I'm really glad that they're doing a lively fiddle tune. So this is St. Anne's Reel.
Yeah, if you sit every other, you can put two stands together. Yeah, so just sit every other and space.
They have 4 pages, but don't worry, they're not doing any of the repeats. The next group is Prelude. This is a group of powerful sounding musicians. There were times when I had to be like, you need to play that gentler, it's piano. Because even their soft dynamics were like intensely powerful. So I think this is just gonna be a really impressive sounding group because they play with such strength. And I mean, at this age, that's such a benefit. It's a good thing for me to be like, play it a little softer. A lot of times I'm like, play out, but I don't have to tell this group to play out. They play with a lot of confidence, a lot of skill. They were in a tiny storage room, and they all made themselves crowns, and it just brings me so much joy. There's just so many things about this project that brings me joy, and seeing in a smaller group, like more of the shy kids tend to come out of their shell, and it's just really amazing. When I went to the high school to observe one day, and I was talking to high school students, and I said, you know, what are some things that when you were at Pecan Trail, you felt like really set you up for success at the high school level? And they were like, oh, that ensemble project, that was the best, because that's kind of what I do every single day. And so I do think this is something where they're taking these skills and applying them at every stage of the musical learning. But it is a really impressive group, and even the cello has a little crown. This is Prelude. like take them on the road. All right, this next group is Early One Morning, and this is my dry, witty sarcasm group. They had to rehearse in my office, so there were some times when I would be grading papers and listening to them rehearse, and they're just like cracking dry, witty jokes, and it really was quite enjoyable. And they made little props, because every time a group chooses this piece, I'm like, someone should wear a headband with a rainbow, and someone should have like a coffee cup, and they were like, okay, fine. So this is they decided to do little morning props. This group is just a really fun mix of personalities, and they bring a really strong technical understanding to this piece. And there were just lots of times when I was like, wow, that is so beautiful. And I was like, I can't believe that these are sixth graders sometimes. And that's just how they are, because they're really dedicated musicians, this entire group. The stunning thing about this group of sixth graders is just their dedication and their immediate ability to just start working hard. I know, see what I told you, they're funny. Yeah, so they're amazing, and this is Early One Morning. And our last group is Siciliana. This group, when I came around with all the books of music, because they got to choose their own pieces, and they got to choose who played what part, and they got to choose everything except for the groups, because some children need to be with other children. They will not get anything done. So this group immediately was like, give us the hardest piece you have. And they were like, not hard enough, next. Not hard enough, next. And so they chose Siciliana, which is 2 flats. It's in a rather challenging key. But they worked really hard. They probably spent the most time just playing their instruments in rehearsal. Like, they didn't even really talk about that much. They're just like, play it again, play it again. And they also really focused on dynamics, and were adding all of the little details. So highly, highly impressive, and just highly skilled, and also very funny individuals. And I had a delightful time listening to them just become amazing musicians. And this is Siciliana. proud of this group. They did all of this work pretty much without me, which is good. That means I'm, working myself out of a job, which is the point. So they are all wonderful, independent, amazing musicians, and you should be very proud of them. And one more round of applause for our amazing 6th grade musicians. And musicians, if you would please pack up your instrument and then come help do chairs and stands. Once all spaces are cleaned, I will release them to you. If you don't mind racking the chairs on the racks. Thank you so much, and I will see you at spring concert on